So, welcome everyone to today's signing ceremony for the letter of intent. Välkomna till undertecknandet av en avsiktsförklaring om samarbete inom luftförsvar mellan Sverige och Ukraina. Med detta steg vill Sverige och Ukraina fördjupa samarbetet, särskilt med hänsyn till modern flygförmåga. Dels för att
in particular helping for the future of Ukraine and also develop the bilateral cooperation, defense cooperation of the two countries. And this agreement will reinforce our security and deepen our cooperation and also lay the foundations of continued cooperation. I'll hand over to the Prime Minister and President Zelenskiy, please.
If you prefer, you can use that. Okay, great. Most welcome to all of you. And more than most of you, welcome, Mr. President. Welcome, Volodymyr. Welcome to Sweden again. We meet here today in Linköping for bilateral cooperation reasons, and we meet in Brussels tomorrow for European cooperation. That says something about the intensity of all the discussions and all the cooperation between Sweden and Ukraine. Just a couple of hours ago, I came directly from the Swedish Parliament ahead of the European Council meeting tomorrow. And I just want you to know that, as in every democracy, we have quite often different opinions about many things in the Swedish Parliament, but not on Ukraine, and not on the support for Ukraine. So in Sweden, we stand very united behind you and behind the Ukrainian people. I want you to convey that from the Swedish Parliament. Volodymyr, allow me first a few words in Swedish.
So, as you can hear, my voice is just perfect. Got a cold on Saturday anyway. So here we are in Saab in Linköping. This is no coincidence, where JAS Gripen is constructed, and the latest model, the Series E, which we can see behind us, was delivered to the Swedish Air Force just the other day for the first time. And Swedish engineers behind it, and with Swedish fighter aircraft, the Swedish people will become safer, but Gripen can also make the whole of Europe a safer place. President Zelenskiy and I have just signed a letter of intent. This is a letter of intent between Sweden and Ukraine, and this is the beginning of a long journey. And it will take us one step closer to a major export deal for Saab, for Sweden, together with Ukraine. This means great opportunities for the Air Force of Ukraine in the future, and also for Sweden and its defense industry, but also for a long-term industrial cooperation between Sweden and Ukraine. As you in here already know, and as President Zelenskiy knows better than anybody else, Sweden is one of the greatest military donors to Ukraine in absolute terms. We contribute with artillery, with aircraft, etc. And on the Air Force side, we're contributing with radar surveillance airplanes, AC1F, those of you who are interested. And these are aircraft which reinforce the ability in the older Western aircraft which are now operating in Ukraine. We also contribute with equipment and training. But it's also important, we are learning as well a great deal from Ukraine. And today we have in detail gone through a number of areas where Sweden has listened to the experience of Ukraine, military, civilian, taking that on board from Ukraine, showing that we can benefit from, but then we can also help Ukraine further with. Now, this letter of intent, agreement of intent, is something else. It is not aimed at any new donations at the moment. Instead, it is about a long-term cooperation when it comes to this type of cooperation and the possibility of having a major deal between our two countries, probably between 100 and 150 Gripen aircraft model Series E, which is being beginning to be produced now. And this is to build a very strong air force in Ukraine. It would then be part of the growing family using this unique, very flexible fighter system. And this agreement is a clear, mutual statement of will, and it is the beginning of a long journey for the next 10, 15 years. And this long-term ambition doesn't mean to say that we don't understand the great needs in place today to support Ukraine continued against Russia in the war of aggression. Now, for the last few years, Russia has aggressively attacked Ukraine partly against Ukraine's very brave soldiers, but also hospitals, preschools, schools, playgrounds. Children are killed and are taken to Russia against the will of the families. This is a brutality without any limits at all. And instead of putting pressure on Ukraine, the whole world should be putting pressure on Russia. The free world must now increase political, financial, military pressure on President Putin to put an end to this brutal war. From today, we're going to continue working together with Sweden and Ukraine and other partners as well. We're going to work very hard to try to look at different possibilities for long-term funding of Ukraine defense capabilities. And the point of departure is good, let me say. We're all in agreement that a strong Ukraine with a strong defense in place, this is the best long-term protection, not just for Ukraine, but also for all other European nations. And our ability to protect our airspace is, of course, of decisive importance. One important step in this direction may be taken already tomorrow, when the question about frozen Russian assets is going to be discussed once again at the European Council. And it's no coincidence that later this evening we are both flying down to Brussels. Now, even after the war, a long-term funding will be required for the reconstruction of Ukraine and also for their military defense systems. And this issue is naturally also decisive as regards the preconditions for the deal that we are now signing this agreement about. Lastly, Sweden has a proud history of being a world leader when it comes to fighter aircraft. The older generations told us about J-29, J-22, the Lancet, G-35, the Dragon, J-77 Viggen, and now JAS-39 Gripen. This is a unique history and background of our capabilities that we have built up in this country. Few NATO countries have this capacity. And the new aircraft that you can see behind me and President Zelenskiy right now is not just a source of pride for us in Sweden and for Linköping. It is also part of the unique Swedish ability that may help support the security of Sweden, of Ukraine, of Europe. And this is what it's really all about.
The step we're taking today through this Swedish-Ukrainian letter of intent creates the necessary preconditions for a major export deal on the Gripen fighters between our two countries. If we succeed, it will contribute to increased security in our part of the world and will strengthen both Ukraine and Sweden. We fully realize it's a long road ahead of us, but from today we are committed to exploring all the possibilities in providing Ukraine with a large amount of Gripen fighters in the future. And with that, over to you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ulf. Thank you very much for having us and for your support, for everything. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.